topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Life with Open Pages. We all have a purpose in life. Sometimes we just need a little motivation to point us in the right direction. This show is designed to help you create the life you were meant to live. I'm your host, Michele Banister. My goal is to motivate you to make simple life changes so you can experience a life with meaning, direction, love, and peace. Now let's start the show. Hello and welcome to Life with Open Pages. I'm your host, Michele Banister. Happy New Year. And tonight it's just going to be you and I, and we're going to talk about what lies ahead. You know, in the intro, I said that everybody has a purpose in life, and sometimes you just need a little motivation to point you in the right direction. So I ask you, what direction are you pointed in for 2022? Do you set goals? Do you set resolutions? Do you look for new opportunities? Or do you just continue on from year to year just with the same flow? You know, have you really taken the time these last few days and asked yourself, what is my direction for 2022? You know, am I going to continue with the same job, live in the same home, have the same relationships? The same life that I've been living for the past several years. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your job or your home or your relationships, okay? But what I am saying is, are you ready to discover something new for yourself, okay, that's designed and waiting just for you? Okay, so I want to ask a lot of thought-provoking questions tonight because I really feel that we really need to hear this. I'm going to talk about finances and relationships, health, and your spiritual life. Okay, so let's start with the obvious. We're going to talk about finances. I mean, we did just get through the holidays, and probably some of us spent more than we should have. Okay, those bills are starting to roll in if they haven't already. So would you like to choose a new route in your finances? Now, I can tell you from experience, I used to be deep in debt with credit card, okay? And it was ugly. It was. When people say, you know, the term drowning in debt, I knew it really well, okay? So the unfortunate thing is, you know, these credit card companies, they make it so easy to just go and buy whatever you want, whenever you want, right? They increase your balance available about yearly, okay? They give you more money to spend. And you still have those high interest rate charges, but they make such a big deal about the available balance that a lot of people forget about those high finance charges. You know, a lot of times that small item that you buy for, you know, $20, you might end up paying triple for it by the time you pay the card off, unless you're really good at paying your credit card bills off monthly, which most people aren't. You know, the average home has 7 to 10 credit cards. That's a lot of credit cards. It's a lot of credit. So starting this year, why not make it a point to live on what you earn? Now, I don't want to lose you here, but, you know, I know it's really hard, that thought. It's like, well, wait a minute, you know, I may not make that much. And that's the problem, is we don't make as much as we're spending, right? It's going to be really hard at first because you're going to lose that go buy it because I want it right now. But in time, you're going to appreciate more of what you have, and you're really going to appreciate getting rid of that debt. Okay, let's pay off those high interest credit cards, because believe it or not, they're causing you anxiety and stress, and they're affecting your health. You know, having extra money is going to allow you the freedom to be able to buy the things that you need and sometimes that you want, right? So, how do we start to do this? Okay. Now, there's two different ways that you can do this. And I know some of this you've probably heard on maybe a previous show, but it's so important to reiterate it here. You want to make a list of your credit cards, their balances, and their interest rates. Okay. So you can either start with the highest interest rate card first, or you could start with the lower balance first, because that sometimes gives people a little more satisfaction to see something paid off quick and then move on to the next one. So what you do is, say you're paying $25 on their first credit card. Okay, you pay that off. I want you to pay a little bit more, say $40 a month, but still pay the minimum on the other cards because we don't want to, lose our credit. So you want to pay, say, $40 on that card. Once it's paid off, you're going to take that $40 and apply it to the next credit card. So say you're paying $100 a month. So now you're going to pay $140 a month. Okay, you're going to get it paid off faster. And again, remember, we're not charging on these cards while we're trying to pay them off. Okay, so once you pay off the one with $140 a month payment, you take that $140 a month and you apply it to the next one. Say you're paying $200 on that card to try and pay it down. Now you're going to be paying $340 a month on that card. You're going to pay it off a lot faster. It's going to go a lot faster, and you're going to see just how much better you feel seeing those balances go down. Okay. Now, once the cards are all paid down or off, okay, we prefer paid off, you're going to cut those cards up, all except for one that we're going to keep for an emergency. Now, that emergency is not that purse you want. It's not those shoes. It's not the jewelry. Okay. So emergencies. Okay. But you're going to cut the cards up and you're going to mail them back to the company with a letter stating to close the account. We don't want to keep those open sitting around our house. Okay. That we could use them again and charge them back up again. And this will also help with your credit score. Okay. Now, if you can't pay cash for something, I want you to ask yourself, do I need this item or do I just want this item? Okay. If you need it, you're going to find a way to be able to purchase it. Okay. If you want it, then maybe you have to save for it and kind of, just get by for right now, but eventually it will come once those credit cards are paid off. Okay. But just think about all the things lying around your home right now that you haven't used in 6 months, a year, 2 years, or more. There's things like Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp. There's plenty of apps out there that you can sell your stuff on. I do it all the time. I do it on Facebook Marketplace because the way I look at it now, living within my means, if I want something new, then I need to give something up to be able to get something new. Now, it was a really hard concept to grasp at first, but with time, it's been really easy. Okay. Another thing you can do is take all of your clothes and hang them on the hangers backwards in your closet. If after 6 months you haven't worn that shirt or those pair of pants, they're still backwards, then perhaps maybe it's time to take them to a consignment store. Okay. Now I know there's seasonal items in your closet, but again, say the cold season, if you didn't wear that sweater, why are you keeping it? Okay. Donate it or take the tax write-off, or again, take it to a consignment store. And another thing is once you take things to the consignment store, they're going to give you a certain price or they're going to give you an agreement. And sometimes you have to write it out a little bit before you're going to, get that money. Now, of course, we all have clothes hanging in the back of our closet for when we lose weight. Okay. By the time you lose weight, the clothes are going to be out of style. So just get rid of them. And when you lose weight, then you can go buy yourself something new. All right. So just, you can do this with your children's clothing, with your clothing, with toys. How about all those collectibles that you have sitting around the house right now collecting dust? Yeah, they're cute to look at, and but let's be real. How many of your kids will want those passed down to them? Now, unless they're worth a lot of money, they may want them. But I have found through, my kids, they didn't want my collectibles. So, yeah, they were cute to look at, but if I could make money off of them and sell them and let somebody else enjoy them, then why not? Right? Why not? Now, we do know that finances are one of the main causes in divorce. So we want to make sure that we get good control of our finances this year and stop living deep in debt. It's just not worth it. So now we're going to talk about a new route in our relationships. I'm not saying you need to get a divorce. I'm not saying you need to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And I'm not saying to get rid of your friends. Okay. I'm just saying a lot of people get really comfortable in a relationship that they forget that they still need to put time and effort to keep it going. Okay. We need to put honor and love and passion back into our commitments. Now, respect, that's another attribute that many relationships are lacking. If you don't respect one another, then you're going to start finding fault with each other. And again, that leads to bickering, which could lead to a divorce. Okay. So we need to be very careful in what we're doing. We don't want to drive a wedge between us. Now, we aren't perfect, but we are made in God's perfect image. We need to remember who we are and whose we are and treat people with the respect that they deserve. This works both ways, though. I had a pastor one time tell me that relationships, they require constant work. And it's not a 50-50 type of thing. It's an 80-80. You have to go not just halfway, but you have to go above and beyond and work hard on that relationship. And this applies to relationships, whether you're a husband and wife, a boyfriend and girlfriend, or just friendships. A lot of friendships today are one-sided and people just give up. And it's really hard to keep a really good relationship. Okay. So now in taking a new route with a relationship, it just may mean severing ties with some people. Some people are only in our lives for a season. We learn from them, we enjoy spending time with them, and then it may be time to move on. And it doesn't mean that you stop talking to them altogether. It just means that you take what you learn, you apply it to your life, and that may take you to new places and to new relationships. Now, treasure the relationships that you have while you have them, right? God wants us in community with each other. Matthew 18, verse 20 tells us, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, I am in the midst." I'll talk more about the spiritual aspect in just a moment. But for right now, I want to focus on a new route for relationships this year. I want you to consider these 3 points, and they're very important. The first one is listen more than you speak. Listening to someone speaks volumes of how much you care. Number 2, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And number 3, the most important gift that you can give to someone is your time. Okay. A lot of people talk about new year, new you, but you can't be or have something new if you're holding on to old baggage. My friend and mentor, John Maxwell, says the past ended at midnight last night. And that's very true. So knowing that, we need to let go of the hurt and the jealousy and the pain
and that baggage from yesterday, right? We need to learn to forgive and let it go. You know, you can't drive down the road in your car going forward, constantly looking in that rear view mirror. You're going to crash. You're not going to get to your destination, right? And it's so easy to say, you know, I forgive you. But people don't forget. We all know that. They forgive, but they don't forget. But it's funny when they get into an argument and when in a relationship, whether it's husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or friends, boy, whatever happened in the past is all of a sudden brought back up. So did they really forgive? I'm guilty of that. Are you? Right? So let's focus. We have two areas so far that we should focus on. That's our finances and our relationships, both of which, if we don't get those in check, we could certainly end up alone. And we don't want that for 2022. Man, after 2020 and 2021, we need to close the door and board it shut, nail it shut, and start 2022 on a positive note. Still a lot of stuff going on out there. So now we're going to talk about our health. How many of you have already made the resolution that you're going to lose weight in starting January of 2022? I think we all make that resolution or goal. And, I don't want to disappoint you, but most don't make it to February, unfortunately. It's well intended, but things get in the way and you just think, well, I'll just have this little bit, or well, I'll just have this little bit, or I'll exercise tomorrow, and then next thing you know, it's done. It's gone. So, just like over Christmas break, just like everybody else, I ate what I wanted to, and I indulged, and I had a wonderful time. And I even said, come January, I'm going to watch what I eat, and I'm going to shed these pounds, right? Over the Christmas holiday, I flew to visit my family in North Carolina. And while I was in flight, unfortunately, my mother slipped and fell in the shower and broke her femur. Now, if you know anything about the bones in the body, the femur is the strongest bone in the body, and it's the worst one to break. Okay, she's 77, and even, so by the time I landed, I was taken to the emergency room, and we eventually got a plan. She did have surgery and is now recuperating in a rehab facility, and she's doing very well. I'm so proud of her. She's doing so good. But when that happened, when things like this happen, it kind of got that ball rolling in my mind of, what if that happened to me? Would I be in, good health to be able to recover quickly? I mean, I carry a few extra pounds. So would would that hurt my recovery? Certainly it could. So how about you? Are you carrying some extra weight? I can tell you, it takes a determined mindset to lose weight. Several years ago, I was bound and determined to lose weight, and nothing was going to stop me. It took 9 months, but I lost 64 pounds, and I was so proud of myself. And I can say that was probably about 6 years ago. And in the 6 years, most people gain it all back. I can say I gained half of it back. So I do know that I need to shed some pounds. But, I know I'm not in this boat alone, But what I want you to know and what I want you to do, since it is a new year, it is very important for you to make an appointment with your physician and get a physical. You should do this once a year. You should have your blood work done and have all your measurements and everything done. And I want you to talk to your physician about what he or she thinks it would take for you to lose weight. Every body is different. I know a lot of people have done well on the keto diet, but it's not a good long-term diet. Read the research. There's a lot of fad diets out there, but there's some really easy, healthy ways that you can lose weight. You know, and you don't have to deprive yourself, and you don't have to just starve to death, and you don't have to exercise to death either. Okay, just a 30-minute walk once a day or once every other day will get you headed in the right direction. And we've all heard it: park farther away. Don't fight for those close parking spots at the mall or at your job. Park farther away and walk. Take the stairs. Now, some of us can't take stairs and some can. If you're able, take the stairs. When you're sitting watching TV, lie down on the floor and do some crunches while you're watching TV. Include the kids. A lot of times we as parents and grandparents, we send our kids and grandkids out to play. Okay? But don't just send them out to play. Go out there and play with them. You'll get exercise, they'll get exercise. And not only that, you're going to be creating a bond with them that they will remember forever. And that's very important right now. There's another area of health that is so very, very, very important. And not only at this time of year and the Christmas holiday, but all year long. And that's our mental health. My family, my sister and I lost our father in December 23rd of 2019. And not only did we lose him in December, but his birthday was in December as well. So, that next year, the firsts, all those firsts, the first Father's Day without him, the first birthday without him, the first Christmas without him, it's been hard. And now, we were the second this year. And just because, the first year passed, those feelings and that hurt, it's still there, right? But I knew at the time that I lost him, we had to put a smile on our face for the kids and the grandkids, because we wanted to have a happy and joyous Christmas, right? But deep down, all we wanted to do is just, crawl in a hole and just cry. So a lot of people have lost someone this past year. They lost someone in 2020. I read on Facebook recently that a friend of mine lost 3 people in the last 2 weeks. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of loss, So I want you to be kind to others. You don't know what they're going through. Now, I know the holidays have passed, but I want you to think about all of this this next coming year with all the holidays coming up, Valentine's Day, that somebody who lost their loved one, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, when everybody's seated at the table and enjoying a meal together, there's always, there's a loss. There's somebody missing. You see those commercials on TV where the individual's holding up a sign and it's got a happy face and they're kind of holding it up in front of their face. And I know it's a advertisement for a medication. But there's a lot of people that are like that. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to comprehend that people can't just be happy. So we all need to be really careful in how we're treating others. If you feel like you're one of those people that need to put a front on for others, please seek help. There's help out there for you, and there is nothing wrong with seeing a specialist. A lot of people think that if they seek out help, then they'll be labeled as broken. You're not broken. In my eyes, you're brave. I want you to be bold and be brave and get the help you need. You and your family deserve to be happy. I've had counseling through a lot of particularly hard things in my life. Most recently, my divorce and the financial troubles that I suffered after that divorce, but I'm really glad I got the help I needed. Now, I did seek out a Christian counselor because I knew that there's a lot of guidance in the Bible, but I needed the help to point me in the right direction, to get me the help that I needed. And you know what? It's okay. So we're going to take a break there and we're going to go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about mental health.
Do you have a project or service that you want the world to know about? Or would you like to have your business or project highlighted during the show to a wide audience? If you would like to be a guest or sponsor of the show, please contact us at info@openpagespublishing.com. That's info@openpagespublishing.com.
Hi, this is Michele Banister. We're back and we're talking about what lies ahead in 2022. Like, what new route do we need to take? Do we need to make changes with our finances? Do we need to make changes with our relationships? And no, I'm not saying it's time to get a divorce. But there are certain changes that maybe we need to make. And we were talking about our health, and not just our physical health, but we're talking about our mental health. And I wanted to add, I want you to talk to your kids. The last couple of years have been hard on everyone. But, I've seen the damage firsthand in working as a nurse in our school system. And I tell you, these kids, most of them only see somebody from the nose up. They just see their eyes. There's no expression. And it's just so sad. They just don't know how to relate. They don't know how to relate. It's really important to know how your kids are feeling. All right. Don't be afraid to ask them what's going on. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. What are you doing? Who are you hanging with? What are you into? But more importantly, don't just give up because they go, I'm fine, or they don't answer. Seek someone out that they can relate to and that, can help them to get through whatever they're going through. Do you think that the parents of those kids that have brought guns to school or shot up the schools, do you think they knew what their kids were going through? Do you think they knew what they were thinking before they did all this? Did they go through their room? You're entitled to go through your kid's room as long as they're living under your roof. It's your house and they have to live by your rules. So don't be afraid. You're the parent, and it's out of love for our kids that we're doing this, and they need to understand that. I'm not sure those parents understood why their kids did what they did and hurt people and killed people. I honestly can't fathom that, but it's out there and it's happening. And we need to take a stance. We need to take control of our children back. Our kids are in trouble, and it's a silent trouble, and that's a deadly trouble. Please don't ignore it. Seek help for your kids. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not broken. They just need a little help. We've all been through something these last couple of years, and it's time to get our lives back. So this leads to our spiritual role. Now, there is religion and there is spirituality. Religion, by definition, is a personal set or institutionalized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. It's the service and worship of God or the supernatural. Whereas spirituality, on the other hand, refers to an experience of connection to something larger than you, living everyday life in a reverent and sacred manner. Spirituality is said to be the aspect of humanity that refers to the way that individuals seek and express meaning and purpose and the way they experience their connectedness to the moment, to self, to others, to nature, and to the significant or sacred. Okay, religion, it can be anything that the person practicing it desires. Okay, spirituality, on the other hand, is defined by God. Since religion is man defined, religion is a manifestation of the flesh. Spirituality is defined by God, is a manifestation of his nature. So I want you to know that you can be religious and not live according to God's word. So where are you in your spiritual life? Do you believe in God? Do your children believe in God? Have you asked them? Are you putting God first? Are you allowing God to take the reins of your life and bring you what his purpose is for you? How hard is it for you to let go of things? I want you to think about this. You know, for example, as a parent, we were just talking about kids and taking control back. As a parent, we raise our children and they become adults and they move out on their own and start making their own decisions. But how hard is it for you to not be a part of those decisions? How hard is it for you to relinquish that control? If we can't relinquish control in that area, how are we supposed to turn everything over and trust our higher power? What about at work? Are you one of those people that say, oh, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself and not let anybody help? I've done that a lot, and it's exhausting. It's totally exhausting. Now, I don't know about you, but we do have to be willing to let go and let God. We need to have the realization that we don't want to do it alone. Why would we want to do this life alone? Why would we want to try and figure everything out? We shouldn't want to take control. Proverbs 16, verse 9 says, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Now, think about that small child when they're trying to do something for the first time and they're fumbling and they're trying and they're just not getting it. And as an adult, we reach down and try and help them and they jerk it away from you and go, me do it. How many times have you seen that? They don't want to relinquish that control either. They want to learn to do it themselves. We all tend to live our lives that way. We're impatient. We can't wait for the things that we pray for. So we think that, we have to take matters into our own hands and do it ourselves. Most times our plans don't even end up the way we want. Or we try and nothing happens, so we give up. We forget it's God's will and God's timing, not ours. So how many times have you, prayed about something or thought, man, I really would like to do this, but it didn't happen fast enough. So you thought, well, it's just not for me. Maybe, he just doesn't want me to do this. It takes time. I know. I'm still working on patience. I don't know about you, but one of the things this year is I'm really hoping to grow a little more patience in my life. Now, if you aren't familiar with the story of Jesus, I encourage you to pick up the Bible and read the chapter of Luke in the New Testament. If you've been a Christian for a long time, I encourage you to reread the chapter of Luke to refresh your spirit. The Gospel of Luke narrates the birth, the ministry, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus. Now, if you want to be a better person and a better leader, read the book of Proverbs. If you need guidance, read the book of Psalms. There's so much available to you, but you have to open the Bible. You have to do the first step. Ask the Lord to show you where he wants you to start. We all need guidance. Ask a friend. If you have, a Christian friend, ask them to give you a hand. They'll be more than willing to help you. Matthew 7, verses 7 and 8 says, "Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives. He that seeks finds. And him that knocks it shall be opened." But again, it's his timing, not ours, his will, not ours. So you got to be patient, right? So, do you have a verse that you live by or that you think of when you're in trouble or in need? I have a verse, and I know I've said it here on the show before. It's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, Paul the apostle, he wrote those verses, and the verses that precede that really kind of set the tone. They say, "I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want." And then that's when he said, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." He learned to rely completely on God for his needs, his wants, and his desires. Now, I'm still a work in progress. How about you? Again, are you ready to relinquish control this year and take a new route in your spiritual life? I looked up the term New Year's resolution. And it means a promise to do something different in the new year. So I ask you, what will you do differently this year? What new route will you take? Now, if you're not sure, I want you to ask yourself, why am I willing to continue to carry the burdens from past years? Why wouldn't I want to make a change? What am I waiting on? And maybe you're just one of those people that are so content in their life that you don't need to change, and that's okay. But, if you think you're not holding on to stuff, holding on to old baggage, old grudges, stuff like that, when you get in an argument with your spouse or your friends or your family, do you bring stuff up? You're holding on to stuff. You haven't totally forgiven and let it go. You got to just drop it. You got to let it go, right? Because those kind of things, again, when we go back to health, holding on to all this stuff is making us unhealthy. If you don't sleep well at night, you're not letting go. If you've got, stomach pain, stomach ulcers, you have anxiety, you have a panic attack in the middle of the day for no reason at all, you're not letting go. So you really need to think about what kind of route that you're going to take this year. What new route will you take? I'm just asking you to take a good look at your life. I want you to look at your happiness level, your content level. I want you to look at your commitments, or perhaps the things you need to commit to, and make a decision on how you want to grow forward in your life. We all start out like gangbusters in January. Yeah, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to find a new job. I'm going to spend more time with family. I'm going to spend more time with friends. I'm going to find some friends. We all make these goals or resolutions. I'm not going to drink this year, alcohol. I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give up smoking. And within the first quarter of 2022, they'll stop. They don't have the willpower. They don't have the commitment. One thing you might want to consider is sit with your spouse or your family or your friends and tell them what you want to do and have them hold you accountable. Stay in touch with them daily and let them know your progress. But more importantly, let them know when you're slipping so that they can cheer you on and help you. If you're helping somebody, cheer them on, call them. Hey, how you doing? How's that weight loss going? You want to go for a walk? You want to go down to the beach? Want to go, for a hike in the mountains? Something, just walk the mall. If you don't want to be outside, go walk a mall. But be that friend and commit to being that friend that, or family member that somebody needs, because we all need someone to help us get through the difficult times. You know, when I talked about finances, find somebody and help them help you set up a budget. Budget, oh man, and a lot of people, budget is just a dirty word. You know, it's just something they don't want to talk about, they don't want to do, because the first thought of budget is, I'm going to be restricted. I'm not going to be able to spend my hard earned money. And that's not the point of it. The point of it is to have more money to be able to spend on what you want or what you need, and to save, to be able to retire eventually. You know, there's a lot of, say, 20-year-olds right now that are not even realizing they should be putting money away for retirement now. I didn't even start till in my 30s. So, you know, I started late and I'm paying for it, you know, for sure. So we need to teach our kids, our adult children, early, maybe in their teens when they have a job, start, you know, putting that money away from them. They're going to think you're withholding their money they worked hard for, but it's not. It's helping them, and teach them, talk to them. Now's the time. Now is the time. 2022 is the year to make that change, to take our families back. I know we spent a lot of time at home in 2020 with our children, and the family unit, you know, kind of got tight again. But in 2021, a lot of people went back to work. They were no longer home with the kids. The kids went back to school, and everybody went back to the status quo. So I'm just saying, it's 2022, and we need to take control of ourselves, our happiness, our finances, our health, our relationships, and our spiritual life. We need that balance. How balanced are you right now? I don't know. I mean, I know for myself, I need more balance. I've been working so hard, and I journal. That's another good idea, you know, for your health, is to journal. When you have frustrations, a lot of times if I'm really frustrated, I'll write it all out in the journal, and then I'll take it and tear it up and throw it away, because there's no sense in keeping it. I'm not going to reread that I was really mad that day, right? So I tear it up and have to let it go. So when you throw it in the garbage, you let it go. It's gone. It's done. Okay. So I do wish you peace and joy and happiness in this new year. And, you know, I want you to live and laugh and love your best life. You have it in you. You have a lot of resources available to you. If you're unsure, reach out to me. You know, my contact information is info@openpagespublishing.com. That's info at openpagespublishing.com. You know, we're here for you. I'm here for you. I want you and your family, your loved ones, to have the best 2022 yet. So if you'd like to be a guest on the show, reach out to me. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, please reach out to me again at info@openpagespublishing.com. And don't forget to visit my website. I've written over 16 books. I'm working on number 17. I should have it out hopefully soon. And I offer personal coaching as well as professional writing services. And I tell you, if you need something, I have a vast array of support and different organizations that I can refer you to. Like I said, 2022 is going to be the year that we're all going to get our stuff together, and we're going to enjoy this life, and we're going to be healthy and happy. So this is Michele Banister. Start today and live the life that you were meant to live.